this week. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Success Shift. I'm glad that we have a number of people back with us for this Monday morning. On Friday, I believe I may have scared a few of you off by offering the concept of sharing your gratitude out loud, because we did have a smaller group and we spoke a lot about the how useful gratitude actually is and what it can do for us. But this morning, I'd like to start by sharing my gratitude and having gratitude for the ability to constantly learn, constantly grow, constantly develop. Sometimes you find yourself looking up one thing and then someone gives you an insight to something else and it absolutely explodes your brain and you run off on a tangent learning a whole bunch of other stuff, which is happening to me this weekend. So I'm very grateful for the ability to listen and learn from others, as well as the ability to sit at my computer and pretty much have every bit of information in the world at my fingertips. It's absolutely incredible. And we had our first bit of snow. If you were on the call on Friday, you may have heard my joyful jump for that. I know lots of you here are in minus 35, 40 degrees and been living in snow for the last, I don't know how long, but for me, it's always an exciting little experience to see the first snowfall. So I'm grateful for being in a country where I can experience that, because for the first 20 something years of my life, I didn't have that, being from Australia. So that's what I'm grateful for. Please, as per usual, chuck in the chat what you're grateful for. If you do feel like it, you can open the mic and share with the group what you're grateful for this morning. I'm grateful to be heading out for a change of scenery. Nice. I'm grateful to be able to hear different perspectives from others. I love that. Yeah, perspectives are extremely important, and it's through the ability to understand and be mindful of perspectives and different perspectives that we can actually change our entire life very drastically and very quickly. And I'll touch on that in a little bit. But what I want to do first today is I'm going to do a little bit of an experiment with the group here, and I'm going to play some sounds to you, just going to be some tones. And what I want you to do is write down and write in the chat exactly how they make you feel. So I'm going to explain this in a little bit once I finished the gratitude. I'm grateful to be able to hear different perspectives. I got the flu Friday, so I missed out. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you're feeling better. But I am well and very grateful to be here with you all today. I'm grateful for health, family, amazing coaches, teachers, and cozy home. Grateful for a new week and to be finally getting over this cold I've had for over a week. Yeah, sounds like a lot of people, cold weather's coming in, so is the flu. I'm so grateful as well for a community of knowledge at my fingertips. Having the support and the encouragement of like-minded individuals on a similar journey as me has been absolutely incredible. Yeah, it's so cool when you can jump into a group of people who all have the same desire and very similar outcomes and wants and needs as yourself. I think it's incredible. So let's see if I can share this, the sound. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to play a bunch of different sounds, and there's going to be 5 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what I want you to do is just put the number 1 and then how that made you feel, or what thoughts came to mind, or any of those kind of, I suppose, feelings that pop up instantaneously. Don't think too much, just write. And if you can, share them in the group as well. Okay, let's get some 1s in the chat if that is making sense to people. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Cool, perfect. All right, so first sound, and someone just let me know if you can hear it when it's playing, and just yeah, just get a yes or something in the chat if you can hear that. Yes, we can hear it. Yes. You, yes, annoyed. One end of the day. Okay, I'm just going to play it for a little bit. Annoying. Yeah, so they're all going to be singular tones. All right. It's giving me anxiety. Okay. Let's see if we go down to hearing test. Yeah, it's going to be a bit like that. I just want to see what people's instant reactions are. So let's try this one. You can hear that. Medical. Any other feelings or emotional anticipation? Okay, I like it. I'm learning as I cannot hear it well. So it made me feel curious. Nothing. I can try to turn this up a little bit if people can't hear it. I don't know if that's any better. Okay, so we got a little bit there. Maybe people can't quite hear it dull. All right, now we'll try this one, number 3. This one might be harder to hear. This one's calming, even, okay. Any other inputs on what you might have felt? Can't hear anything mellow. Okay, we're going to try and go the other way. So if that was loud for you, just maybe turn things down a little bit. This might be a little bit louder. 3, obviously my speakers are not working. Okay, so those last 2 are quite low, very deep. Let's try this one. Cannot hear anything. Okay. Can we hear anything on this one? Yes. Good. Any thoughts or feelings that you get to this sound? Hurts my ears, annoying. Okay, if it's very loud, then high-pitched, feel good. Okay. Because if it's loud, then obviously that's not the idea here. It's hard to know what people's speakers are doing. I'm not sure how I feel with this one. Okay. And then the last one we're going to put here now, just this might be a little bit louder again. So just if it's too loud for you, be cautious. Any feelings towards this? Emergency. Again, feel good. And maybe if you close your eyes and take a few deep breaths, maybe it might put in different skin starting to tingle. Ooh, Aaron annoying still. Okay. All right. Like the emergency alert tones. All right. So the reason I was doing this test is because, actually, I'll keep sharing this, is because I want to talk to you today about manifesting. I know, completely random compared to what we were just listening to, but also the ability for emotions to have frequency, or shall I say the fact that emotions have frequency and how different frequencies and tones can actually affect us. So there's a chart here that I want to share with you. Now, I first heard about this. This is slightly different to the one that I saw in this book. So this book called The Inside Track by Peter Sage. It's a really good read. He's got a lot of really interesting stuff to share. So if you haven't heard of him before, I'd check him out. But this is talking about the map of consciousness and basically different levels of emotions relative to sound and frequency. So some of the, I mean, it's a bit hard if you don't like the single tone pitches, but to hear under the undertones here, basically what we're looking at is the lower frequencies give us a feeling of like fear, guilt, anger. And so the very first one we listened to was somewhat neutral, kind of like a level of reason and neutrality. And then we went down to sort of that anger and fear. Now, if you can't hear it through your speakers, that's a bit hard because it's a very low subtone. But the idea is that the lower subtones actually give you this feeling of like, oh, anxious or fear or what's going to happen. Like, you know, it's really gloomy. And then as we get to a higher pitch, we get to the more peaceful joy. And often when we hear these in nature, much more natural tones, they're accompanied by like bird chirps and things like that. So the idea here is to allow ourselves to listen to sound and see how it affects our emotion. Now, I got into a lot of quantum mechanics on the research that I was doing over the weekend and sound waves. And here you can see that as we get lower in these sound frequencies, then we actually move to like a contracted sort of feeling. And as we get to the higher frequencies, we tend to sort of expand and feel a bit more opened. And I didn't want to give too much influence to the sounds, but I'm wondering, if you were listening to these sounds, did you have any feeling of contraction or feeling smaller or closer? Maybe, like you said, leaning in to listen. I mean, if you couldn't hear it, then that's different. But to the lower sounds, the 3, 2, or 1. I mean, the 1, 2, or 3. Yeah. And did you have a more of an opening or expanding feeling to the like 4 or 5? Can you just chuck in the chat? So if you had an expanding or contracting, if not, that's completely fine as well. This is why this was an experiment with the group here. So if yes, just chuck expanding or contracting. If no, just put a no, so I can see how it was responding to people. And if that's making sense. No, not really. Okay, not a problem. So still feeling from the last tone. Okay. I hope that's a good feeling, not a bad feeling. But if it's a bad feeling, that's okay too. So the idea here is that higher frequencies have more energy, right? And we in life sometimes lack energy. And one of the things, only one made me feel better. Well, it's good that one made you feel better and actually gave you a different feeling. That's just, so the idea here is that I wanted to see if any of these frequencies did actually implement any feeling towards you, or if it was just like, this is sound in my ear and it's annoying. And some people will have just gotten the annoying. Some people may have got, I'm actually feeling something different from these sounds. But the idea here is that often when you're angry, when you're guilty, when you're feeling fear, or any of the apathy or shame, the lower frequency emotions, do you have much energy, or are you feeling drained? Do you feel like getting up and doing stuff, or do you just feel like packing it in and quitting on the day and going to bed? Let's get some response in the chat if you're feeling, if when you feel these emotions, like what you actually want to do. So you feel drained, right? You feel like, I can't be bothered doing this. I just want to go to bed. Like, this sucks. Because the frequency and the vibration that you're moving in is very low. Now, what about when you're in love and you're feeling super joyful and peaceful and you just feel over the moon? Pull up the covers and roll over. Exactly. So when you're in these higher vibrations and frequencies, when you're feeling this love and this joy, to me, I want to run around, the neighborhood and scream how happy and in love I am. I mean, I've got this little beautiful human that's just come to my side, and I'm full of energy all the time because he's providing me with love, joy. It's giving me a higher vibration, a higher frequency. And this higher energy actually travels further. And this is why we were speaking before, when you vibrate at a higher energy, it radiates further. On a quantum mechanic level, the particles of an atom vibrate faster. When they vibrate faster, they bounce off each other and expand faster. That's why hot air expands and rises, because it's lighter, it's expanding more, it's vibrating faster, and it rises. So same sort of thing with our energy, with our happiness and joy. It vibrates and it expands and it just starts to radiate. Now, why is this important? Right? So the reason I bring this up is because we have an incredible ability to decide for ourselves in any instantaneous moment how we want our life to be, how we want to feel. Now, if you've listened to Bob Proctor at all, I'm sure you've heard the correlation between thoughts and results. Our thoughts turn to feelings, which turn to actions, which turn to results. Put some ones in the chat if you've heard that before. Our thoughts turn to feelings, turn to actions, turn to results. Yeah, a few people. Perfect. So our thoughts, and if we take this into a bit of a deeper level, our thoughts concentrated on, if we concentrate on our thoughts, they start to evoke a feeling. So if you just have a thought come, you can dismiss it pretty quickly and it just goes. But if you have a thought that triggers something, triggers an emotion, it triggers frustration or anger, and you keep dwelling on it, you keep thinking about it, this emotion, this feeling builds up. Or if you have something that's joyful and happy, you keep thinking about that, you process it. It's created a bit of a feeling or an emotion, and you concentrate on it and you stick with it for longer. And this feeling or emotion builds. Now, once this feeling or emotion builds to such an extent, you actually start to get motivation. Now, motivation is a reason for action. In a psychological use, the definition is inner or social stimulus for an action. So when our emotion builds to such a level that we just can't contain it anymore, we take action. And it's quite interesting because if you look at the etymology of the word emotion and you go back to the Latin, it comes to the Latin word emovere, which means move out. And so when you've got enough emotion, you start to act out. You start to move out of the body. The energy goes from inside to outside. It creates a feeling to an action. And a derivative of the emovere is actually emotia, which is energy in motion. Some of the studies have shown that another word for emotion can be emotia, which is energy in motion. And so what we're doing here is we're looking at the fact that our thoughts concentrated on over time or just repeatedly are going to create a stronger feeling and emotion, which is then going to force us to take action. And when we take action consistently, what do we get? We get results. As long as it's the right action, of course. Now, if you have a negative thought and you think about that all the time, you get a negative emotion. This emotion creates a negative motivation, sometimes not allowing you to take action, or it's the opposite where it creates a destructive action and you lash out and you burst out and you create bad actions. So what we want to try and do is shift our perspective on the situations in our life and find a positive outlook so we can have positive thoughts repeated in our brain to create a positive emotion, which then allows us to motivate ourselves to take positive action and hopefully give us the results that we want. Does this make sense so far? Let me know in the chat. Make sure I haven't lost anyone because it can be a little bit convoluted. Press some ones if this is making sense. I have experience with the solfeggio frequencies and listen to meditations and music that have healing practices. Yes, so there are lots of researchers on healing frequencies and listening through meditation to different frequencies and what they can do to different parts of your body and healing and all that. I haven't done too much research into it myself, but it's definitely a very interesting topic if that's where you'd like to go down. And maybe Deanna, I believe that was you that said that in the chat. Maybe you can talk more about this on Thursday with us if you're open to that.
Yes, I'm open to that.
Perfect.
Jake,
okay.
I can put together something for Thursday. Absolutely.
Perfect. Great. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing that on Thursday. But for now, so we want to go from thoughts to feelings to actions to results. And looks like in the chat that people are still following me, which is good. Now, how does this have anything to do with manifesting? Well, manifestation, often you hear, I don't want to give it a bad rap, but often I believe it gets misunderstood. Let's say that. I'm going to stop sharing. But often it gets misunderstood. So manifestation on a surface level is, I'm going to say, I want this thing over and over again, and the universe will give it to me. And I feel like this is a very base level of what people understand manifesting to be. And to be perfectly honest, I believe that to be pretty much incorrect and useless. Now, if we go on a deeper level, what we need to do when we manifest is we have to think about the things that we want. We have to put that thought in our mind over and over again. Now, what we do when we think about the thing that we want, we start manifesting it by this process of thoughts, feelings, actions, results. So if we think about the thing that we want, and we think about having it, and we think about what it's going to feel like, and we think about how it will make us feel when we finally achieve the goal or have the thing that we're thinking about, and we attach that emotion to it, over time, consistently doing that, we're going to build up enough emotion to build up the motivation to actually make you take action and steps forward to achieving that goal. Just going, I want a Porsche, I'm saying that to myself every day, isn't really going to do much. It's going to start the process for sure. But the idea here is that we think about it, but we don't just think about the thing. And this is why materialistic manifestation isn't really that productive. What we want to manifest is a feeling or an achievement, shall we say, something that makes you feel proud of, or something that's going to move you forward to a materialistic object, perhaps. So when we're manifesting, we just want to be thinking about the things that we want in our life. We want to be shaping and visualizing the life for our future, but we want to be doing it over and over again to a point where we actually induce emotion high enough to take action. This is the same with gratitude. When we think the thoughts of gratitude over and over again, it shifts the emotions within us, or hopefully we think about it with emotion, and this then creates a action to do better things if it's in a positive light, and hopefully get results that are positive. So I want to suggest that you try manifesting, but doing it with a deeper aspect. So when we manifest, and I do recommend manifesting or visualizing or whatever it is that you want to call it, I want you to think about the thing that you want and then attach that feeling to it. And there's a few important aspects to this. We don't want to just manifest from a place of deprivation, like, oh, I've got no money, I just wish I had some to pay the bills. Because what we're doing is we're manifesting from a negative place. We're manifesting from a place of scarcity, and those vibrations that we are feeling in that moment aren't going to travel as far. Those vibrations that we're feeling aren't going to have the right intentions. Those vibrations that we're putting out are kind of going to be, I don't know how to say, but like, yeah, they're going to have the wrong intentions. I guess that's just the best way to explain it. And so what we want to do is think about the things we want in a space of pride or elation, or like, I can't wait until I become a funded trader. This is a perfect example for many traders here. Oh, I can't wait. How's it going to make me feel? Oh, it's going to do this and this and this. Oh, I can't wait until I have this account. And then you keep thinking about it and you go, okay, what do I need to do to get that? Oh, I can't wait to do this. So I'm going to put my lessons into practice and I'm going to do it over and over again. Okay, I failed. I made mistakes. Hang on, let's think about how good it's going to feel when we've got that funded account. Okay, so what do I need to change and do differently so I can work towards that again? Oh, it's going to feel so good when I can, finally quit my job because it's been a burden to me. And I'm going to be able to do that because I've become funded. That feeling of saying bye to my boss is so great. Okay, so how am I going to take steps to get towards that? What we're doing is manifesting the account, or manifesting the day you get to quit your job. But all those little bits and pieces build up over time, creating the energy and the excitement and the good feeling and the emotion that's going to move us forward to take the action steps. Does this make sense to people? Check some ones in the chat if I haven't lost you. Very much so. Okay, good. 1-1. Perfect. So I suppose to summarize, I just wanted to bring up the idea of manifesting, how powerful it can be, but more so the fact that we need to attach our emotions to this and use that to increase the vibration, to increase our frequency, and to allow that to build the motivation within us to take the right action to get the results that we want. So manifesting, I think it's got a bad rap because of the way that it can be shared, but I think it's a very, very powerful tool to start the process of thoughts, emotions, actions, results. We need to be aware of the different vibrational energies, the different vibrations and frequencies that our energies and emotions have. And we want to be vibrating on a positive, high emotion. So if we can find a different perspective in life, then we can hopefully shift our thoughts to a more positive one, providing us with a more positive vibration and moving us further down that path of action and into result. Okay. So I wanted to start off with the idea of manifesting here, and hopefully we can revisit that idea and put it into your daily practice, but doing it with the right intent. Because I tell you what, when you've been thinking about achieving a goal for 1, 2, 10 years and you actually achieve it, that feeling is incredible. Once you can tick off the box and be like, yeah, I've been wanting this for so many years and I've had this, I've thought about how good this is going to feel, and now it's here, and bam, it feels incredible. But ironically, the thought process of achieving that is usually a better feeling than the actual achievement. And this leads into the idea of falling in love with the process and being able to create and stimulate the good emotions in the process rather than linking it to the final result. We can touch more on that later in the week. And tomorrow, I'm going to try and discuss and give examples of how we can use manifesting in a certain aspect to help us on the charts. All right. So everyone who's going to join me on the charts in a minute, I look forward to seeing you there. Everyone else who is listening on the podcast or live somewhere else, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Just reading through the chat here, understanding the concept. Now let's have a look. Sorry, that just skipped past. Understanding the concept, having trouble moving out of the scarcity mindset into a higher energy. Looking forward to growth this week. Yeah, it is really difficult. But the first thing is understanding that you're in that scarcity mindset, and then trying to find baby steps to set up our environment so that we can, over time, shift our subconscious mind from the scarcity through habit and repetition to an abundant mindset. And that can also start with gratitude and manifesting for an abundant place. But we can touch on that a little bit later in the week. So everyone, thank you very much. To our traders, I shall see you soon. To everyone else, I still love you, and I will see you tomorrow. I'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye.